We're continuing page Mem Beis, the 42nd page, in the middle of the Maimer, as Shabasos Tishmeru, which the Maimer asks, what's the idea of Shabbos, the Aliyah of Shabbos, the two levels of the Aliyah of Shabbos. See, he asks, what's the Yedid Tzedek Aliyah? Where could a Yid's neshama be greater? A Yid is etzem, is connected with Me'ach Ha'av, and he's everlasting, and Machshava never stops, and Ima HaMelech b'mlachta Yoshvu Sham. So what's the Aliyah? So he says, to understand what the Aliyah is, we have to know that the main schar is by Tchias HaMeisim. Like it says, V'da shematam schoren shel tzadikim lo sid lovei. Lo sid lovei means a Mashiach will come. If lo sid lovei means now, so what's lo sid lovei? Gan Eden is here now. So lo sid lovei means what's not here now, when Mashiach will come at Tchias HaMeisim. Gan Eden is only a holding room till the ultimate schar by Tchias HaMeisim. So we have to understand why is the ultimate schar dafki lamata neshamas begufim. He doesn't bring it. The famous machloikes of the Rambam says that the ultimate is in Gan Eden. We pass like the Ramban. The ultimate is in this world. Why does the ultimate have to be in this world? Actually, in 1991, the Rebbe said that even the Rambam also agrees to the Ramban. Very interesting change. We won't get into it now. Let's go further to the Maimer. To understand why this schar has to be in this world, and to understand what the Aliyah is, we have to understand. We know that the Rebbe has two oiros, soivev kol almin and mamleh kol almin. Because the atzvus of the Rebbe is higher than Ashpo. As Ein Sof, a chayis of the Rebbe that comes down to be mechaya worlds. Just like we have in the Shabbat when it comes down to the body, the chayis that comes down into the 248 limbs. Power of sight in the eye and the power of hearing in the ear is not Atzus HaNeshama. Atzus HaNeshama is much greater. There's a very limited amount of the Neshama that has some power to give. It's not the Etzem HaNeshama. The Neshama comes down. The Chayis is not the Etzem HaNeshama, it's only our order. And the Neshama comes down, even the Etzem also comes down. Even though it's only a Haore, but since it comes down, it's mispoiled and mikri aguf. But the Rebbe is higher than an neshama that's mispoiled. It's totally not mispoiled the way we say every day in davening. It's the same thing. He's much higher. He's not nitfas in elomes. And even the aid is also doesn't come down to be nitfas in elomes only after many tzמצומים, like we learned yesterday. So it's not the atzvus of the Rebishter. That's why the Rebishter is called Mechaye HaChayim, Michalkel Chayim. And like we learned in the Maimorim and Emer says it's a Tzedek, even Igdashti b'nei Yisrael on the Pasuk in Tehillim, Ki Imcha Mikir Chayim, that the whole Mikir Chayim is only Imcha, doesn't say Kiata. Because also Chaya Chayim is also, the Mokir is Eira Kol B'moid, but it's not the Moed itself. It's only the ray of the sun. This gilui is called Ein Sof because it comes as Ziv from the Eibishter, which is Bilti Bal Gvul. How did from Shmei HaGodel be created limited worlds? Because there was many Tzimtzumim in the Eid. And to come down, bebchinas gvul midah. That's memale. Memale is the air that comes down, be gvul midah, and comes down to every world according to its edit. And first, it comes down to chokhmah. So it's a limited light, just like by a person. You have the strongest light comes into the brain, then comes to the heart, then to the feet, lower and lower and lower. And every keli, the brain is a keli to the koach of seichel. The heart is a keli for midas. The feet to dance, to walk. So it's a different keli and a different aid. It's very minute. And this life force that comes in the eifin of Mamleh doesn't even have the value of one drop of water to the Pacific and Atlantic Oceans. Because Ein Sof is higher, Seviv Kol Almin. Says the Rebbe, what does it mean, Seviv? It doesn't mean that it just hovers over from on top like the Pashut of Pshat. In Seviv meaning it hovers. You can't say that's Pshat. It says in Zoya, Lei, Sasar, Ponimine. He's everywhere. What does it mean, Seviv? It's not understood. And it's higher than the neshama comes down the guf and is understood. And it's called Seviv. Because it's everywhere, like it says, Kasha Ye'oifen b'Tefoifen. A small circle and a bigger circle. When the bigger circle's around the smaller circle, there's no part of the smaller circle. It's better than the other part. And this is what it says, Apostle in Pashas Bracha Mein, Likkutei Kedem, the Eibus is Kedem. Salem is all over the same. So that's why, since it's such a eight, that's all over the same, the eight of Mamleh is no erech, no value compared to the eight HaSeviv Kol Almin, which is totally beyond all of this. Says the Alter Rebbe, when we know the erech of one compared to even a couple of billion, it has an erech. You take one away from a billion, it becomes less. It becomes 999,000. Plus. So it has an erech. But something that's bli gvul, there's no erech bichlal. So the aid in this world is nothing compared to the aid HaSeviv. Now we'll understand the answer to our question. That's aliyas and neshamas to the gufilim hazeh. Because even though they're all machshova, you're very high, you're chokhmah that's silas, but it's memale kol almin. And thus, Ibshad Beri Kidei Mishtaba Shimcha is also memale kol almin. And the aliyah is that there'll be a izgalus of Ein HaSeviv. That will be an izgalus when Mashiach comes by Tchias HaMeisik. And that's why the gilui will be to neshamas begufim, because this high Ein HaSeviv, you can't say you get it better in Gan Eden. It's shaveh umashve. It could be also an asiyah. It doesn't explain here in the Shmaime if it could be everywhere. So why is it dafke here? He doesn't explain it. He's going to explain the next paragraph. Sorry. If it could be everywhere, so why is it not Tzilas in Gan Eden? So he says, since you reach Seviv Kol Almin through Ma'aseh HaMitzvahs, which, by the way, this is the whole thrust of a Geras HaKedesh Simchov, the Ma'aseh HaMitzvahs is connected to Atzmos. Since you bring down the Ein HaSeviv through Ma'aseh HaMitzvahs, says the Tzemach Tzedek, that's why Lo Asid Lo the Gilui is Dafke Lamata. So that's the whole purpose. The Neshama comes down in a guf. not to have Avdi Yideh, because that has much better than before it came down. It comes down here from mitzvahs ma'asos, like it says on Pasuk in Ekev, Hayem la'aseisom. That's why the Alter Rebbe says that in the Shom it comes down many times in reincarnation till it finishes all the Tayag mitzvahs, because these mitzvahs make the Gilui Erdili Osid, the Ein HaSoivev. And this is Pshat in Pirkei Avos. Schar mitzvah mitzvah, the mitzvah is the schar. Because the ultimate purpose of all the mitzvahs is to change the yesh and the ayin to be bittul yesh. This is what it says, Hukshur kol ha'teilah l'tefillin. What size of the tefillin you take? Physical leather. And you write on it echad, because the leather is nega, which is separate. And becomes a keli telikus, and this is the whole purpose of Torah mitzvahs. And by karbonis, we saw it that you took a korban and you burned it, and Hashem's fire was consumed. You saw bigili bitla yeshli ayin, and this is also tzedakah. And you take money that you worked on with your amachi vori, and you give it to oni lesamegami klum. That's bitla yesh la'ayin. This is what it says in Michal Chesed LaAvraham, that this idea of giving away your hard-earned money only comes when you're bittul. If you're not bittul, it's my money, I worked hard. But if you have bittul, that's the idea of mitzvah smaisi, is to make bittul in the world. And you could give away, the Alter Rebbe says, if you have chesed, you could give someone what he needs even before you have all your necessities. And this is Talmud Torah. Like we learned in the previous Maimed, that the way to have proper limud Torah is through bittul hayesh. It says v'dibarta after b'chol nafshecha. Because sure said if pshat is mesiras nefesh, like the Gemara says in brachas afilu noiteles nafshecha, you should have said b'chol gufcha. Pshat is u'b'chol nafshecha. That's when you learn Torah. Chumash, Shnayis, and Gemara, your nefesh should be a mesach mavdil. Like I am learning, I am davening, but it should be udvora, samti b'ficha. You're talking, the Eivish is talking through you, and these three things are the general mitzvahs, like it says in Pirkei Avos. Ashleish advarim eimed ala teira v'ala veda. Vedas karbonas armas chasodim. It's all bitla yesh liyayin. Even though it's not a complete bittul, because he's yes, but you're mevatel yourself. But through doing this, you will ultimately reach the level of ayin mamash, like Elam Atzilis is connected with its creator, their true bittul to the Rebishter. And this will make that la'osid love, this level of chesed re'yiminu is gala in Elam Atziyah mamash, will be a keli, like chesed atzilos, and this is the secret pshat in the Yemorim B'Batse, that tzaddikim will be called with Hashem's name. What does this mean? That they will be totally bottled, and the Eibishter will shine through them. And through this Isarusel Sat of Bitla Yesh, that he gave tzedakah and he learned Torah. And through this, he accomplishes, through the bittul hayesh, he accomplishes the eira sevev, that Atzilus and Asi is the same thing, and this shines l'osid love. You accomplish it through bittul hayesh liyayin. This is pshat schar mitzvah mitzvah. But the mitzvah is bittul hayesh line. This is the schar for the mitzvah. The schar is that you reveal the ayin or amiti, which is seviv kol almin, And every yid has this bittul a little bit. Everyone according to this level, he gives a brech for the Eibishter through his skafio, through his hatche. And he has a chelik leilam haba because he's mevatel the gashmi. And if you're mevatel the gashmi, that's a keli for the Erisov. That's why the Gemara says, if someone doesn't bow by Medim, he doesn't have bittul. He will not stand up for Tiyas HaMeisim, because what brings down this ha'orem is the bittul. The kitzur from this seif is that Ein Sof Baruch Hu is Seviv Kol Almin Umemale Kol Almin. Seviv Kol Almin, even though it's Ein Shmei, it's Ein Sof. But Memale is the Orem Mitzum Tzemer. And the Neshama is Yishtabach Shimcha only from Chochmah. The Aliyah is Seviv Kol Almin. And it comes from Ma'aseh HaMitzvahs, which is Bittul HaYesh. And that's the schar of the mitzvah, that the ayin is revealed higher than Chochmah. Chochmah is Yesh, Mi'ayin. The ayin is revealed. Goes to Siv Daled. Now we understand what the Bavli says, Shtei Shabasos Kilchoson. Shabbos is Aliyah Seilomis. And Aliyah is like the Mashiach will come bittul. It says, Vayish Vayim Ashvi. The person works hard, he writes. He has to work hard to bring down the seichel into midas, in machshava, in dibur, in ma'aseh. And then when he rests, his koyach haseichel goes back to its source, refreshes, and goes further. Same we say by the Mr. Sheikh Shamos Avaya, there was many Tzimtzomim in Asora Mamor. That's why all over Bereshis in the beginning it's just a Shem Elikim, it's Tzimtzom. But Shabbos it says Vayechal Elikim. The Tzimtzomim stop and he goes in the level of Shem Avaya, which is Seviv Kol Almin. And that's Shabbos Lavaya. This is what it says in Yirmiyah the Pasuk Ani Hashem. Doesn't say Ani Elikim, it says Ani Hashem Cheke Levechin Kloye. Why does Hashem know everything what is in our heart and our kidneys and our gut? Because it's Ani Avaya Sevev, and by him Shomayim and earth is the same, so he knows everything. And nothing could hide for the Rebbe Shkachashech. This is when it says Shabbos is Shabbos Lahavaya. That Memale is elevated to Seviv Kol Almin Taliyah Sheilome. That the world on his battle from Yesh Mi'ayin. That's why it says Vaychul Hashamayim V'aretz Vaychul is Kleis HaNefesh U'Bittul. Because the Gilui of Seviv Kol Almin, you have the, like we explained before, Schar Mitzvah, the great bittul of Shabbos, the bittul of all the Tzimtzomim. We know Shabbos, the blood pressure is different by a year than a whole week. The anxiety is different because the Tzimtzomim are removed. Says the Tzemach Tzedek, why is this called Aliyah? It says Leis Asar Ponim Minei, the Eibishter is everywhere. Where are you going up to? But it says, it's explained elsewhere. Regarding what it says. Then we say Baruch Aton Shmones, you bow down. Hashem, you stand up. We learn it from a pasuk, Zeikif Kufim Hashem. And when you say Hashem, you rise your head. It explains Alpi Kabbalah elsewhere that Kedei Yaizam Shochel Mat. Zeikif is Alo Lemailo. There is Vayered Avaya, he goes down. And over there he has Gilei Likus. Then there is the Aliyah when the world is elevated. Milmata Lemailo Molor Deyo. That's elevation. like two people, one is on a higher place and one is on a lower place. There's two ways. There's the higher person going down to the lower person. That's Kedei Abebaruch. And then there's Zeikiv B'Shem when the person goes back up. So that's why Shabbos it says Aliyah She'elo Meis. It's like Zeikiv B'Shem. So he says, we learned before there's two levels in Bittul. There's Bittul Ayesh Li'ayin, which is only in a Sarusa del Sata. For the true Bittul, which is Save Kolalmin, will be in Isgala, and it's not Musig, and it's called Ayin. Like it says in the Idra, begin Kach Atiko Kadisha Ikra Ayin. And through this Gili will be the ultimate level. This is the Pshat why Shabbos there's two Aliyahs, stay Shabasos Kil Choson, Shabbos Taton, Shabbos Ilo. There's a lower level of Bittul, which is Achone for the higher level of Bittul. To understand what is the lower level of Shabbos, we have to understand the mitzvah of Shemitah, which is explained in our parsha. That's called Shabbos, is the Yeshes Botulayayin. First, you have 6 years where a person plows and seeds and cuts, and he's like, yes, for Dover. It's my land, it's my fruit. Then there becomes Shviz Bitla Yes the Peres on Hefke. And I think the mother says, Are Afke Rachmone. It makes it Hefke, we can be Zeichim in a Hefke. That's why it says, we learn the Chiyuv of Biur in Shemitah. That we could only eat from the fruit as long as there's left for the animals to eat hanging on the field. That's Biur, and that's Bitla Yes. That you take it out of your house. And the fact that the Eibishter makes a human like an animal, that once the animal doesn't have any more oranges hanging on the tree, you have to throw it out of your house. That's such a bitla yes, that an animal and a person are the same thing. Because it's Shabasos, you're going to save it. When do you have a difference from Daimim to Me'echai Medabe? That's Memali Kolalmin. Because a person is like the brain and the animal's like the feet. He has Chochmah higher than V'chaya. But we're talking Makiv is saving Kolalmin, like we say, oh, Hashem. It's the same thing in the level of Behemah Rabba. That's why Shemitah and animal and person are the same in eating, because it's saving Kolalmin. But still, the whole bittul of Shemitah, even though it's such a high level of saving Kolalmin, that the animal and the human are the same. That's why there's the mitzvah of Biur Peres Shemitah. It's still only Shabbos Tato. What does it mean it's Shabbos Tato? We find by Shabbos something very fascinating in Bayekulu. First, it says, Vayish Beis Bayem Ashvim Kol Malachti Asher Osa. You have an aliyah from Osa, which is the level of Asiyah. And then it says, Ki Beis Shavas Mikol Malachti Asher Boro, also higher than Bria, which is higher than Asiyah. Bria is only a mocker for Asiyah, and Shabbos is Shavas Malachti Asher Boro. These two psukim by Shabbos, says the Alter Rebbe. This is Shabbos Tato and Shabbos Ilo. Asher Boro Elikim. That's the lower level of Aliyah Seilome. All the worlds are like Asiyah, like it says, Kulam B'Chochma Sisa. Shabbos, they have Ayechulu, they have Aliyah. They able to go by Aliyah, and the Rebbe says, he likes how the worlds could have rots of a shuv, and they're able to go higher, but they only go higher until Chochmah. Because Chochmah is Reishas Ishtalshlos, like it says in Zayar, that Abba, Sfiras HaChochmah, shines in Atzilut, which is Bittul, Keachma, but in Bria Tzirasiyah, there's no Chochmah, there's only Bina. Like it says in the Zoyar, Ima, Bina, Mekana B'Kisaya. Is shining in the Kisya Kovid, which is Bria. And to go through this Bittul Natzil Chochmah Lo, then it says the first pasuk. Chochmah is also called Chochmah Mi'ayin Timotze. This is Shabbos Tato. This is Shemitah. This is Bittul Yesh Le'ayin. And this is all the mitzvahs of bittul yashlai. But it's all Shabbos Tator. But this char for all this that will be la'osid is the gilui of the emes ha'ayin atzmus and Shabasos kolam. That's the ayin that from it is timotzi chochma. That's Shabbos ilah. On this we have the second pasuk. Kibei Shabbos mikol malachti asher bora, which is chochma is all called abriya. Chai is in his avatar chochma is only shmei. Like he said before, Behar kedei shemishtabach simcha. And Shmei is being matzi rotzen because this is the rotzen. But then there's the Shabbos law, which is connected with Atzmus, who's called Bala rotzen and called Moed. And this is Nishgale on Shabbos. There's Aliyah Seilomet. The higher Aliyah that Chochmah is Eile b'matzila, which is Save of Kolalmi. And this bittul, higher level of Shabbos law. This is the idea of Keser, goes from Chochmah to Keser. Keser, Shtika, ultimate bittul, the ultimate ayin is revealed. Like it says, a pasuk in Eov. Katel izayir, and it means wait a little, which is the ultimate shtika, Shogla Chochmah Shtika. Zog, the Alter Rebbe Pshat, what does it mean, Shogla Chochmah Shtika? That the Geder and Makiv of Chochmah is bittul, like it says, Vu Mishtoy, Makrish. Like it says elsewhere, when Moshe was stuttering because he had total bittul for the higher level of Keser was shining in him. This is Pshat in the Yerushalmi. Shabbos lavayel kecha shveis kashem, just like the Eibishter doesn't speak. You shouldn't speak. Reb Chanina says, "B'deichi kitiru silum shalom Shabbos," because it's higher than Dibur, it's total machshove. Says the Kitzur. This is the Pshat Shtei Shabasos Kilchos on Shabbos is Mali and Mali to save it. And there's a bittul. A bittul, yes, line from Chochmah. Shabbos Ilah is in Save of Kolam and higher than Chochmah. This is the Pshat. El Shabsei Saiti Shmeiro. Shabsei Sai Shabbos Tator, which is bittul yeshli ayin, and Shabbos was a bittul amiti. You have it every Shabbos. What does it mean? El Shabsei Sai, these two levels to Shmeiro. You should guard. It doesn't say you should do. You should guard. Explains the Alter Rebbe because Shabbos is a gift that God gives. All we gotta do is guard it, that it shouldn't get ruined through a kilkul, an agrome bin izokim, through avedis, like lying and being haughty, like it says, you separate yourself from Hashem and from Shabbos, and by Gaiv it says in Soitein anivu yechelim loder v'dibur echad. This is the mila that even the lower level of Shabbos Tator. Make sure that you have bittul. If you don't have bittul, that's a hindrance and a disturbance and doesn't let even the lower level of Shabbos Tator be nizgala. And you shouldn't say, aha, look at me, I'm nizbata. Like it says by the Bisuel, which is the antithesis of Avraham Avinu. Opilak sheushmo reuma mo is bittul, but Rui says, "Ah, look at me, I'm bot." Famous joke. The rabbi says I'm nothing, and the president says I'm nothing, and the guy from the back says I'm also nothing. So the president says, "Look who's saying is nothing. Who does he think he is?" You make a mitzias out of your bittul, you ruined it. From there is the shtalsel yes and gashmer sitrach. There's a fascinating halacha in Shulchan Aruch of someone fast, not the regular fasting, to do tshuva. And he tells people, I'm yeshiv b'tainis, you're a choite, you're sinning because it's a re'uma. But you have to know that everything is from Hashem, even though the Eibishter gave you pchira. But you know that if the Eibishter wouldn't help, you wouldn't do nothing. You have to bittul, then you're able to be then you're guarding the Shabbos, that the Shabbos should be able to rest on you. And this is what it says, and know if the Eibishter wouldn't help, you wouldn't be able to do it. This is also a wonderful diuk. Shabasos, my Shabasim, know that what you're doing and what you're accomplishing is because the Eibishter is helping you. After he says, don't let anything disturb it. And have bittul to the Eibishter, know everything you're doing is because the Eibishter is giving you chayus and koyach. He says, Mikdashi tiro. What's the pshat mikdashi tiro? Mikdashi is Torah. Because the mikdash that we build, Shleimei HaMelech built, but the Torah is the Eibishter based on mikdash, like the Gemara said. So the Shabbos and this Mikdashi, which is the Eibush based on Mikdash in Tanya. Like it's explained, Barichu says it's Tzemach Tzedek in Tanya, Perek Nun Beis. The Talmud and Mishnah come from Kochi Kochim, from Bria and Yetzirah. So Dalad Amishal Aloch is the Eibish's Kochi Kochim. And look in Eitz Chaim that the shade of Sheikhel Kochi Kochim is very high. So what's the pshat? Because Torah is something you understand. The Torah comes with premise like the Beis Hamikdash was Gil Shechina, and it's Memali Kol Almin. And Shabbos is Bali and Seviv Kol Almin, total beetle. That's why he says Shabasos, which Ali and Seviv Kol Almin. Nevertheless, you should know that even what you do understand from the Eibishter Torah, Umigdoshi Tiro Ani Avaya. That this Torah that you understand is the Atzvus of the Eibishter coming to be Memali Kol Almin, but you divrei lamaba. Even though it says in the Nafkas, Nafkas means it comes from Chochma. This Galus is from Chochma so that we can understand it, but the source, the Mokir Cheitzvah, is much higher because Torah is explaining the Eibishter's Rotzen, which is Tayag Mitzvahs. And Tayag 613 with 7 mitzvahs that Rabbanan is Gematria Keser, because the source is from Keser, like it's explained. So that's why he says Mikdashi Tiro, because Mikdashi is Gilui Er Pnimi. That's why you have a Yira Mitzad Gilu. You understand it, you appreciate it. Which footnote is this? 144. So you have a great yira because you understand it. So this is Mikdashi Tiro. That Shabasos, you say Shabasos at Ishmeru, you have to guard the Shabbos. That you don't get don't get in your own way. Don't be selfish and don't say, look what I accomplished, and know that everything you have is from the Eibishter. Then you are a keli that Shabbos should shine in you, but Mikdashi. Even though you understand it, you have to have tiro, you have to have yira, and know that when you learn the Torah, even though it's something you understand, you have to know it's Chochmos Yitzchak Shalakadosh Baruch Hu. And even higher, there you need an extra warning that it's tiro, because you could think, since it's talking about physical matters, that it's not Seviv Kolam. So you have to know tiro. The highest levels come down through your learning Torah.